We're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Thank you so much for watching. Yes, I'm wearing my giant Life Day Snuggie and I don't care. Check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. Don't forget to find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Hive.
Yeah, I was going to mention the fact that it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, last year during the Oscars discussion stuff, we were wearing like tuxedo shirts and dressed up, and you really downgraded your look this year.
Yikes. Yeah, I'm in the Snuggie today, but it is an official Life Day Snuggie.
It's not Life Day, though.
Well, it doesn't matter. Every day can be Life Day.
Can it?
It is because I'm wearing a Snuggie. I got cold and wanted to be comfortable.
Just tell me you were taking a nap. You were taking a nap.
I was taking a nap. All right. So last week was the Oscars, my friends, and of course we did our Oscar ballot. We went through, made our picks, and I feel like I did really good. But were you surprised by anything?
You talking about the wins?
Yeah.
Not really, because most of the ones that were the nominated stuff, they were either ones that I was fine winning, or most of them I felt like they were options. Now I know there was some backlash for one that I was a little surprised he won, but I thought was deserving. It's just a differences of opinion of what you think.
Yeah.
I know the backlash, and I hate saying this because it sounds like I'm being a racist, but a lot of it seems to be the argument of the race inclusiveness. But to me, if you're nominated, I do agree that there wasn't enough, there's not as much diversity and stuff. But at the same time, sometimes it's like, I also don't want them to force some people into them that really didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
Like I still stand behind Black Panther should have never been nominated for an Oscar. The movie was not that good. I mean, it was a great movie, but not that level good. Do I think Angela Bassett should have been nominated and potentially win? Of course I do. She was excellent.
She was great in it. That was a role it made for her, and what I feel as her natural air about her.
Yeah,
very dignified,
and I know
very regal.
A lot of people were mad that she didn't win, and they thought she was cheated, and then it turned into a black race thing and all this stuff. And I don't think that's what it is. I think there's one movie that stood above, and the reason it won so many different Oscars, because if you look at the movies we discuss it, the diversity level of people that were winning because of that movie,
yes,
clearly has a statement.
Yeah.
But you can't make everybody happy.
But I think, too, if you look at the win, we're talking about the win for actress in a best supporting role. I think if you look at the win of Jamie Lee Curtis herself, that's a big deal, because a lot of people will say Jamie Lee Curtis was like acting royalty, but she was a scream queen. She downgraded herself.
Yeah, and then she shilled yogurt for years.
Yeah, so they're like, what did she do with her fame? And
what did she say when her post? She goes, she did horror films and shilled a yogurt that makes you poop.
Yeah. So I mean, people were like, she's never going to win anything. She's a scream queen. But as we see now, I mean, hopefully this brings people to a new level of her legitimacy as an actress. And I thought it was nice that she did mention her very, very famous parents.
Yeah, so. she's done a lot of things that weren't horror. She's done comedy. She's done drama. She's done a lot of stuff.
I know.
Would I ever look at her as like somebody I think would have been a big Oscar contender or something? No. Do I think she was worthy of this movie? Yes.
Absolutely.
It's a different kind of performance. It's not the same emotional, power-driven performance as like Angela Bassett. I also think, if I'm going by this category, I thought Hong Chau should have won if everybody.
Yeah.
If you want to get technical, I thought her performances in the Whale, as well as her performance in The Menu, were better than Angela Bassett's. But it's a different kind of performance.
Different.
And I thought Angela Bassett was amazing. She drives me nuts as a normal human being, but I think she's a hell of an actress.
That's what I'm thinking. That role is like perfect.
Yes,
that's the role.
And I think automatically taking everything, and of course I can't say this without it being taken the wrong way, because I'm a white person. I'm not a person, I don't mean just white person, but I'm not a person of color, so I know I can never connect with a lot of the issues and the things like this, and I'm not trying to deny that. But if you look at the category of people nominated, you have a black woman, you have an Asian woman, you have two Asian women, excuse me, then you have two white people. So it's not like it's not a diverse
It's becoming more
thing.
diverse, which I think is great.
But you can't say we have to have diverse and only people of color can win. It
Yeah.
can't be that way, because then it starts looking, to me, it would start looking like they're only winning because, and I don't think that's right.
And I don't think that's what they would really
No,
want.
and I don't think, if you have a discussion, every Oscars, whether it's a whitewashed Oscars or better inclusive, me and you could have a discussion and not agree who should win.
Correct.
So
Absolutely.
it becomes a voting board.
That's exactly what this is. I mean,
Yeah.
we had our different picks, and I think we did. I mean,
You know,
we always pick who we think will win and who we want, because that's not the same.
it goes into the same discussion
We all
of
have
something
that.
as simple as Best Picture.
Yep.
You go down a list of these movies, and movies that there's movies you were like, why is this nominated? This movie's horrible.
Yeah.
You know,
I always
and
get that.
I see it as a different thing, as I understand why it's nominated, even
the
if you don't
movie
think
I did not like did not win, so I
Yeah.
feel okay. I feel bad. Okay, now this is the interesting thing. I thought, or at least it felt like, the Fablemans was going to sweep more, and also
what was going to sweep more?
The Fablemans,
Oh.
or also Everything Everywhere. But there was a lot of that All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah, well, that's one of those weird things they've changed with Oscars, because that movie would have normally fallen into a foreign film.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if it's just because they're opening up, because, you've had Parasite now. You've had so many different movies that were technically foreign film class.
But they
deserve, I think, if you're going to give Oscars like this, not everything's be shoved into the foreign film category.
And they did win for international feature film, but also like production design, original score. I mean, they were winning a bunch of different things that I was like, it kind of surprised me, but I was like, okay, cool.
Well, see, and I even was thrown on the Best Picture list of nominees, because I don't think
so
movies
many
like
now.
Avatar should be nominated. I thought Avatar was a great movie.
It was good.
I don't think it's an Academy Award. I think it's Academy Award for things like effects and
cinematography.
I don't think it's a Best Picture type of movie. I don't think Top Gun was a Best Picture type of movie.
That's absolutely.
I love the movie.
Camera or whatever. Where does that fall into?
Well, that's another one that's sound,
film editing, sound, visual effects. Yeah.
I would have never expected Everything Everywhere All at Once to be nominated. I think it's a fantastic movie. I think it's fully deserving. But I think what this shows, because All Quiet on the Western Front, The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Tar, The Fablemans, Triangle of Sadness, Woman Talking, all those movies are movies that you expect to have that kind of nomination because of the tone and the vibe of them.
Yeah.
Now, we don't necessarily agree on what we like or don't like, but those are the movies you say, yeah, I can see that. Because it's been cemented in our brain. There's certain kinds of movies that are nominated, certain not.
Correct.
What I love is that
it's
Avatar and Top Gun
yeah.
and Everything Everywhere were nominated because they're not the movies you would have ever thought.
Not at all.
And I think a lot of that goes because of like The Shape of Water winning.
Yeah.
And it's changed where
it broke things up for
a genre movie can be classified.
Yeah, and I think even like Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio won for Best Animated Feature, and he got up there and he made this like thank you that an animated weird what was it, what's the stop motion can win.
Yeah.
He's like, stop motion is still film. It's still art. You know, that a lot of people don't like that type. It took me a long while to get into it. You've always loved the style.
Oh yeah, I love it.
But it took me a while to really get into it and then to understand really the artistry behind it. And these people are spending like a decade doing one film.
See, I wouldn't have even, excuse me, the Best Picture stuff. I wouldn't have nominated Tar. I wouldn't have nominated The Fablemans. I wouldn't have nominated
Tar was weird, guys.
Top Gun. I wouldn't have nominated Triangle of Sadness. I wouldn't have nominated Avatar. And
like half the list would be gone with you.
But some of those is because I didn't like the movies and I didn't think they were that good.
I enjoyed Tar, but it was weird.
Tar's fine. It was dull.
It was not what I thought I was going to get.
But I connected differently than you did.
Yeah.
Her performance, I could see her getting nominated for her performance.
Yes.
But the movie itself, I thought was boring. Triangle of Sadness, we couldn't even get through.
The first half, I think, is difficult, and then I think the second half's really good, but we can't get to it.
We lost interest in it so
Sorry,
bad. We just never
I really
finished
want
it,
to.
so.
Okay, now my great joy was Not To won Best Song, and I loved it. We're getting foreign songs winning Best Original Song. And I was over there like,
that movie is a great movie.
If you have not seen
let's zoom
go
through,
watch it.
and then we'll kind of do a little more embellishing on each category before we get into it. We only have like 2 or 3 movies to talk about today, so we're going to spend a little more time.
You say only, but we can talk about anything for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You give us an opportunity.
So Best Picture, I actually wanted the Banshees of Inisherin to win only because I'm a Colin Farrell fan.
Yeah.
But I expected Everything Everywhere All at Once to win, and
it did.
It did. And what was your pick?
I also said Everything Everywhere was going to win, but I would have been happy, surprisingly, with Elvis or Top Gun. And I am not a Tom Cruise fan, but this is a great movie.
And neither one of us liked the first Top Gun.
No, but this one
I like
makes
it more
the
now
first
than
one
I
better.
used to, and with the new one, it's a better movie.
And I still have to do a shout out for Women Talking. It won for something else.
Screenplay or something?
Yeah, adapted screenplay. And like the lady's like, thank you for not being scared to talk about a movie called Women Talking.
Yeah, and then I was shocked because I didn't realize that actress had wrote and directed that movie. I'm like,
yeah.
Last time I saw her, she was in Dawn of the Dead.
She's come a long way.
She walked on stage. I'm like, is that Sarah Polley from Dawn of the Dead? I was like, it sure as hell is.
Yeah, it's a great movie if you haven't seen. Actually, all these movies are really good.
We're only going to zoom through the main categories because I didn't fill anything else out.
I did all of them.
So we don't care about
person.
it.
Okay,
so the next one for directing. So I have a big beef on directing.
Yeah.
If you nominate a movie for Best Picture, then I think automatically the director should be nominated because
and it does not always.
It doesn't happen. It makes no sense to me because the director made that movie that you're saying is the best movie. So how is the director not nominated? I can sometimes not necessarily all the actors because some actors are better than others, but it's also a smaller category, so that does come down to picking and choosing. Again, I went with the Banshees of Inisherin because I love the movie, but I expected Everything Everywhere All at Once to win.
I did the exact same.
Did you?
Yeah.
You haven't even watched the Banshees of Inisherin yet.
But I realizing it's that one guy and your man crush, Colin Farrell.
Like, Brendan Gleeson.
Okay. And, I'd heard Brendan
Gleeson.
Yes, I'd heard Colin Farrell on that roundtable interview just talk about how much he loves that man from that movie they did many years ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, they deserve to win something.
Yeah, well, they're great.
So I was thinking they were going to win.
We may have to watch it tonight.
Okay, that's fine.
And then we go into actor in leading role. Again, I wanted Colin Farrell to win.
Of course, you did.
I thought Austin Butler might win only because of the Golden Globe.
Yeah.
But I really wanted Brendan Fraser to win. Colin Farrell was my... I would really hope, but that's not my pick.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
I assumed Brendan Fraser was going to win.
Yeah, and I was like, I wanted Austin Butler for Elvis, but I picked Brendan Fraser to win because I was
this is one of those things
like it was going to happen.
This is one of those things like the Golden Globes. Brendan Fraser didn't win, but then it becomes: is it a controversy because he basically shunned the Golden Globes because of stuff that happened to his personal life? He said, I can't go there.
I agree. But you know what? I applaud him for standing up and being like, no, that's the person, or they're from that organization.
Yeah, and he was like, I'd be a hypocrite if I showed up and supported it.
That hurt him as a youngster.
So it makes you wonder, did he get shunned behind the scenes, or was it just one of those things?
Yeah, but it is interesting because typically whoever wins the Golden Globe wins the Oscar.
A lot of times, yeah.
But it didn't happen for Austin Butler.
And this is another thing that's been really weird about so many people mad. Even Dove Soap, I think somebody posted about being mad about him being in a fat suit and the insulting. Like, we know one person that posted how they thought it was insulting and this to big people and indulgent and whatever. I'm like,
I didn't see
there's so much more to that story than just the obesity side of it. There's a pain and there's a power and whatever. But anyway, and I love seeing him.
Everyone can.
If you haven't been following his, I don't know how you couldn't. If you haven't been following his kind of return to the spotlight, he never left really. He's been doing a lot of random movies and shows, and he's been doing stuff. But there's been so many interviews that, like, when he started getting promised, like when he started doing Doom Patrol, it kind of put him in a bigger forefront because of the comic book crowd had embraced him. And even though he's not physically on that show most of the time it's just his voice. There's been interviews where people were talking about how much they missed him and how much they loved him, and he's like cries at almost. He's a big crybaby.
He is.
And
it's sweet
in the sweetest way possible. Kevin Smith the same way. Kevin Smith cries about everything, but Brendan Fraser, his has been more about realizing that he was wrong. Like, he didn't think all these people cared about him, and he didn't think that he belonged. And the realization is like, I do belong. This is like that exclamation point at the end.
Yes, you do.
They're saying, you're here and you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, you belong.
Unless he gets treated like I'm the captain now guy who got screwed.
Yeah, that poor guy.
He still shows up and stuff now again, but for a long time.
Did they finally pay him?
I don't know. I don't think he got paid for that like you should have. But anyway,
so crazy.
That's a whole other argument.
All right.
Who did you pick on that?
I
know you just said it, but
I wanted Austin Butler just because I thought it was the precursor to this, but Brendan Fraser.
And then the actress in the leading role was one of those that had a lot of controversy this year. because I wanted Michelle Yeoh to win. I figured she would win because she's been sweeping everything.
Mm-hmm.
But you had Kate Blanchett or Blanchett, depending on what you're talking about her, for Tar, which I thought she was worthy of that after seeing it. Anna de Armas was surprising addition. She worked. I think that's a perfect case of I think she deserved a nomination, but the movie did not.
The movie was not great, but she was good.
Yeah. This Andrea Riseborough that everybody was like, who the hell is this? Because there's supposedly some shifty ways of getting them in because nobody even heard of this movie. It just came out of nowhere. What? And a lot of people think that case and Andy de Armas' case, and even I think some people even mentioned Michelle Williams from the Fabelmans. The immediate argument wasn't just did they deserve it? It was they took a spot away from Viola Davis from the Women King, and I forgot who else it was. It was another person of color that. And so again, it goes back to did these people deserve it? Or did they not deserve it because you wanted this other person? Yeah. You know, and I hate that feeling because I don't want anybody to think. I don't want anybody to get nominated and win because it's just because, well, we needed a diversity. Yeah. I want to deserve. Violet King was amazing in The Woman King. She was really good. Don't get me wrong. And I think she deserved to be nominated, but
we don't control.
Was it more than these other people? I don't know. But you can't argue diversity because an Asian woman won.
Yep. And that is the first Asian to win in that category. And she received the award from the first Black woman to win the award.
And what's really funny is that role was not even written for her. It was written for Jackie Chan.
And they flipped it.
And he turned it down. She took it. And they made it for hers. And now we're here.
And it was two Bond girls. The first Black woman, the first Asian woman to win in that category. I actually wanted Anna de Armas to win because I need to support all the Latinos of the world.
I would have been fine if she won too because I just love her.
I think it'd be interesting for someone. I think a lot of people see her just as like literally the bombshell, the pretty girl. Yeah. But she's actually really good in a lot of. I think she was also good in the James Bond thing. Actually,
yeah, well, she's going to get some shine because she's going to be the star of The Ballerina, which is the John Wick spinoff.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that. Okay.
The supporting role was the men.
Actor in a supporting.
This one was a hard one for me because I was actually fine with every single person in this category nominated and winning. But I really wanted Ke Huy Quan to win. It was another case of not only being a fan of him as Data and as Short Round, but I actually followed his straight-to-video martial arts movie career, too. He did, like, this little string of karate movies that I loved watching, and then, of course, we all know he disappeared, and getting to see him come back. But, again, my secondary choice, I picked him to win as well, but my secondary choice would have been Judd Hirsch, because I think he was the most powerful part of the Fabelmans.
He was the only good part of the Fabelmans, my friends. I did not connect with that movie at all.
You're not the only person I know that didn't.
And I actually picked Brendan Gleeson, even though I hadn't seen the movie, but I just it's the guy from Harry Potter. I just love
how much support you gave this movie because you've never seen it.
I've never seen it, but I hear good things.
He's from Paddington 2. He's the chef in the prison.
Paddington 2 has been said to be the best movie in the whole world, right?
That's right. Well, it was 100% on Rotten Tomatoes and somebody went and bombed it and knocked it off.
Jerk. Make them delete it.
So anyway, and I also love the Ke Huy Quan's another perfect. It's really ironic because that's another perfect win in the same journey of a Brendan Fraser situation.
That's so sweet.
Where he left the business. He literally left the business, was working behind the scenes and stuff, and hadn't been in a movie in 20 years. Yeah. This was his first movie back, and another didn't feel accepted. Didn't see a lot of roles for people that look like him, and
until Crazy Rich Asians came out, and
then I believe he said Jamie Lee Curtis is the reason he did the movie, and and
she is such a supporter of everyone.
She supports everybody. She don't care if she wins or lose. She, I think, was legitimately surprised she won anything.
Yeah,
but seeing his speech and then knowing. There was a thing.
I was ugly crying when he was crying.
I don't know if you saw it because his entertainment lawyer is the guy that played Chunk in the Goonies, and he thanked his, and even in a lot of speeches he was like, Goonies never die, and so there was a video that put out that Corey Feldman shot a live video of them watching him, and they're like, he mentioned Goonies, they mentioned Goonies. Okay, Key's up, come on, Key, and they were screaming and cheering for him, and like.
And then did you see Pauly Shore tweeted?
Pauly Shore tweeted.
He was so happy about them, and he's like, he didn't care about the joke of what's.
He thought it was funny, yeah.
He was.
They were both in Encino Man. If you didn't watch
it, but he was because what's his name? Jimbo Kimball made the joke about Pauly Shore. Where was Pauly Shore from Encino Man? And he's like, you know what? People making jokes about me all the time. He goes, I'm willing to do whatever movie call me with a good script. Yeah. He's like, in the meantime, I'm very happy for my co-stars. He took it in stride.
Yeah,
It's fine.
he said, I think the joke was something like, two of the stars of Encino Man have won an Oscar, and Pauly Shore is at home watching the Oscars or something like that.
So,
but yeah, it's cool seeing everybody together.
That's okay.
And
that's a good thing. Okay, then
one of my favorite moments
Sorry.
of the Oscars, and it's a moment that you blink and you miss it, is when Everything Everywhere All at Once won the Oscar for Best Picture. It was presented by Harrison Ford.
yes,
And watching Key and Harrison Ford like hug and embrace on
I know.
stage.
Did you see they posted a picture from the movie and from
Yeah,
the
and them embracing.
Oh, when he was a little baby.
There was another event somewhere that they reunited for the first time, and
So
and
cute.
he was talking about how proud of him he was, and how he loved him and all this stuff. And Steven Spielberg came out and talked about him because he's the one that originally cast him in Indiana Jones, and it's a great little story.
It's a nice story. And then in that roundtable, actors roundtable, they found out that I guess Steven Spielberg would still send them Christmas cards or whatever. This whole time he's never stopped sending them Christmas cards. And then Colin Farrell's like, "What?" He's like, "Man, is that true?" You know, his little accent. He's like, "Oh, it's so cute."
His little accent.
His Irish so cute.
Accent.
Okay, the very last one. We're just gonna do the column. Best animated feature film.
Are we skipping the best actress in supporting role?
Well, we just talked about.
We talked about.
Oh, did we? Okay, I actually, like I said, the role of the Queen for Angela Bassett was made for her. However, I wanted Hong Chau to win.
Well, I picked Hong Chau to win.
Good.
I thought Angela Bassett would win.
Oh, see, I picked Jamie Lee Curtis.
But
I was going.
I was going by the strong thing you can from the Golden Globes and the different kind of performance. And again, back to my mind, we're trying to get that diverse stuff happening. You know, and I'm not glad
you're thinking way more deeper than I am.
I'm not glad she didn't win because she would have been fully deserving of it.
Yeah, perfectly great.
But I think I was really happy to see Jamie Lee Curtis, and I think it's part of the same reason that is so appealing of her. Whether you can, I know a lot of people think she's so fake, but whatever. But the way she responded, Fraser responded, Quan responded. Those look like people genuinely excited and surprised and appreciative. And to me, that's just something that's enjoyable to see in a time of an evening where it's really just people kind of praising each other for silly movie work, Yeah. And sometimes it gets condescending.
Tony Curtis never went on. What was the mom?
Janet Leigh from Psycho. I don't think either one of them. And Jamie Lee was the first one.
And I mean, it's like Hollywood actor royalty right there.
But anyway, again, in any of these categories, I probably would have been fine with almost every single thing that would have won.
Yeah, it's fine.
It rarely happens, but this time it was one of those really strong ones, and it was actually a decent show. Nobody got hit.
She was nominated. Janet Leigh was nominated for Best Supporting Actress.
I don't think she won.
Wow.
So anyway, I did go by animated feature.
Animated, I absolutely wanted Marcel to win.
I know you did. I picked,
and it was picked as a favorite.
I picked Pinocchio, and I wanted Pinocchio, you were dead on. But I did have Marcel marked as one I hope wins.
Please check it if you've never seen it. Check it out.
Anyways,
that was the Oscars last
wasn't near as exciting as last year.
There was no slap.
There was fighting, but there was a lot of jokes
all the comedy specials that have come out have been really good.
Oh yeah, I was going to throw a quick plug for all of them. So before we get into our movies today, there are two specials you should check out. There's a new Chris Rock special that was on Netflix. He actually did it live, which was an unprecedented thing. And then I think it's called Selective Outrage.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
And it's got, it's a great new special. And then the last 10 minutes of it, it's him finally coming out addressing the Will Smith slap and situation. And he does not hold back. And then there's another one that's on HBO Max. It's Marlon Wayans.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember the name of that special.
I'll go find it.
But it's like an hour long. And it is literally an hour.
Headliners, HBO Max original.
Anyway, go on HBO Max, look up the brand new comedy special Marlon Wayans. It's literally an hour of talking about Chris Rock, Will Smith, and Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yes.
And that's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just called Marlon Wayans. Oh, you know what it is?
No, that's not it. That's a different one.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's this one. The headline.
It's the brand. It's only been up for like a few days. So I do want to ask you because we haven't really talked about it.
Yes.
The Chris Rock movie you've talked a lot about.
Yes.
But the Marlon Wayans, I watched it twice. I watched it kind of in passing, and then I'm like, you're gonna have to watch this shit.
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
I really liked it. I thought it was funny.
Did you agree with a lot of what he was saying?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and it's interesting. Here it is. his perspective, because he knows everyone. He's known Jada since they were both like 19, 20 years old. So it's interesting. Oh, special is called God Loves Me. That's what it
That's
is.
right. Yeah,
God Loves Me. About it, it is hilarious how he's like, man, this happened to him when I was young. He's like, but God loves me because, and he gave the date of the slap. This and this happened on this day, and it's actually very fun.
It's an
I liked
interesting
it.
insight of he
Yes.
turned his real life feelings and discussion of people that he's close to into a special that attacks everybody,
Yeah.
defends everybody, and then talks about getting past it.
Yes.
All in a pile of really, really funny contacts.
And it's interesting, like he says, he knows everybody. When Jada first met Will Smith, like they were introduced, and so that he's known them their entire relationship as well. And then his connection with Chris Rock being in the movie that his brother was doing and took his part essentially.
I'm gonna get you,
all of that. So it's actually
the Rib Man.
really, really interesting insight to all of it, and I did think it was very fun.
Did you ever think while you were watching it, like, oh, are they going to still be friends after this? Him and Chris Rock, or him and Will, or whatever?
Yeah, I think so, because I still am.
I think Chris Rock gets the idea of the comedy and the jokes and how a joke is a joke, and he's
and that's what I would say. I'm of the belief, the old school belief, that comedy is free game. You're like, everything's open. It's free game on everyone.
It's the epitome of freedom of his speech, because
correct.
everybody,
and you should be able to be friends.
You don't have to like it. You don't have to, be a fan of that comedian. You can walk away from it if you hate what they have to say.
It's like the old school of like going to the comedy club and you don't know if they're going to pick on you because you're in the front row.
Well, but
that's the epitome of comedy.
The problem with comedy now is
people are so sensitive.
People want to cancel everybody with this bullshit, and if you say the wrong thing, then your whole thing's over. I'm not talking about the sexual harassment stuff. I'm talking about just words. And
correct.
if you say stuff like, sure, there's jokes that would say 10 years ago that are offensive nowadays, and maybe you. But if you watch any good comedian, a Kevin Hart, or Chris Rock, any of the big people, they weave their comedy with the time.
Yes.
So stuff Kevin Hart said 20 years ago is not the same thing he's going to say now.
Correct.
And they look at, okay, that's not as funny now, so we go over here. But you sit back and watch some of the older stuff, you're like, there's no way they could have got away with this now. And had they still been doing it and didn't evolve, I get it. But at the same time, they should be able to.
Yeah.
And if me and you don't necessarily find the same things funny.
Correct. I find random things funny.
Because we shouldn't, because we have our own brains.
What?
But you would just be like, I'm not watching that. That's stupid. And walk away while I finish watching it.
Yeah,
and
correct.
Vice versa. It shouldn't be
there's some that are just nasty that get me. I don't remember who it was. It was like, ugh.
Yeah, and I find most comedy funny, and there are things that I'm like, why are you laughing? This is not funny at all. But that's how it's supposed to be.
Well, and I laugh during inappropriate moments too in movies.
Well, I do too, but anyway, moving on. Let's actually talk about
some movies. Let's talk about it. Okay, let's go here. Is that okay?
Right. Talk about diversity. We're diving right into some diversity with Chang Can Dunk.
You guys, we've been wanting to watch this. This is a new movie on Disney Plus. It's available now, and I really liked this movie.
I did. I knew the movie was coming out, but it came to my attention mostly because comic book artist Rob Liefeld, who was one of the Image Comics founders, creator of Deadpool, Cable, Shatterstar, Youngblood, all these different things. His son is one of the lead actors in the movie. He's kind of the bully bad guy character.
Yeah.
I think he's on that show Wolfpack as well. So he'd been blasting a lot about, hey,
check out my kid.
So proud of my son. His movie, this is on Disney Plus. I'm like, what? Well, I'm a fan of Liefeld, so I'll be a fan of little Liefeld as well.
Sweet.
And so we sat down to watch Chang Can Dunk, and it is a good movie.
It's a cute little movie.
Of course, it's a little predictable, but it has
a little twist that got me.
I didn't expect initially.
I was like, oh.
Yeah, because I felt like when it gets to the main part of it, it felt that's it. That's all you hear.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole other section.
That's
of the
what
movie.
I thought. I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be a short movie. But
to me, it almost felt like, and I think I mentioned it to you, that kind of Karate Kid like.
Yes, but with basketball.
You have the kid that's kind of the outcast. He likes this girl. There's the bully kid who's good at basketball, and they have kind of confrontations. They're picked on, and then one's got to train to do something else, and there's a mentor, and it is Karate Kid.
It basketball. Is. They're both fighting for the girl. Is the bad guy gonna get her? Is little Chang gonna get her? And then
did you say his little Chang?
yeah, sweet little Chang. And then also I like that he has some issues with his mom and dealing with the loss of the dad. So it is exactly Karate Kid, because it's very much like uh, Daniel-san and his mom having some conflict there, and Mr. Miyagi having to come in and
they have a
fix
deeper
that up.
conflict in this movie than Daniel-san had with his mom.
Oh yeah, so
His
this
mom
was actually really, really good movie.
It is.
Unexpectedly
It is.
good.
It's entertaining. It's not a dopey High School Musical kids type movie you think you would watch on Disney Plus. And I'm not saying there's not a place for those. It's just when you look at the way the title card is and it's Disney, you get a preconceived notion to them.
Yeah, but no, it's actually very entertaining. Yeah, it's not dumbed. Not I don't want to say dumbed down, but watered down maybe for your teens or your tweens.
But it's also appropriate for everybody.
Good. Yeah, it's a very good movie, and we do talk about getting along, becoming friends.
There's a whole bullying thing in there.
I mean, there's a lot happening in this movie.
Racial issues.
Yes,
there's a lot of things there.
It
so
is.
I think it's one you should check out. Whether you don't have to like basketball to enjoy this movie either.
They're playing basketball.
Yeah, they didn't play that. They didn't play that song, but they
I know
should.
They should have.
Chang Can Dunk is available now on Disney Plus.
It's really good.
Slam dunk your way into seeing it.
And then it was like, can I dunk? Then they were doing all the work and the plyometrics or whatever. I was like, yeah, I can't jump.
I've been trying to tell you what you need to do. You don't listen. I can jump. I weigh more than you.
I know, but could you dunk?
Not now. High. At one point, I could almost touch a rim, but I wasn't doing that kind of training.
Yeah.
My training was to jump kick somebody 6 foot in the face.
Oh, okay.
Not to slam dunk a basketball 7 foot in the air. So it's a different jumping.
There you go.
It's the same, but there's other things that you
have to do. Same but different because there's contact.
Well, but there's also I used to have a badass jumping front kick layup.
No.
When I used to play full contact basketball back in the day.
Oh my Lord.
If I stood and had to shoot a basketball, I could not hit the. To this day, I still can't hit the.
You just can't.
Thing to shit. But if I was jumping up and laying up and front kicking somebody at the same time, I nail it every time. No idea why.
But you have to be able to kick somebody.
I had to kick somebody. We'd be playing, and I'd jump up. If I play full contact basketball, I tend to make it more often than if I just have to follow the rules.
Okay, so don't play basketball with you.
Yeah, I cheat.
Okay,
bad. I violently cheat. It's not like I hold you or whatever. I'm like headbutt you. That's why I don't play basketball.
All right, check out Chang Can Dunk on Disney Plus.
Talk about a sports team.
Hey. It is. Now we're going to El Football Americano.
Oh, you made it ethnic.
All right. So we are talking about the movie 80 for Brady, which still brings some controversy because of good old little Jane.
Anytime Jane Fonda's around, there's controversy now. People cannot let that go, man.
I know.
And you know what's funny is we didn't grow up in the era that it affected us because of our age.
Correct.
But I know I've talked about this every time we do something about Jane Fonda, but she did an interview on Howard Stern talking about all this stuff and the photos and everything that made people mad. In the context of what actually happened and what people perceive happened are not the same thing.
Correct. Well, people only see what they want.
I teach senior stuff that we've talked about
before.
No. And I actually mentioned one time about I might have been talking about Grace and Frankie, or maybe it was some other thing they did.
Sorry, my nose is running. I apologize.
I had a lady immediately like, I will never watch anything Jane Fonda. She's a traitor to this country.
Is she?
Well, that's what people thought.
Still?
Yes.
But
that's the generation that was watching
it.
And I explained to the lady, I said, well, she was recently on an interview, and here's what they were talking about. And they brought that up, and here's what actually happened. And she goes, too late for that now. And I'm like whatever.
Wow. Okay, lady.
Fun fact, though, I believe that lady and some other ladies all got together and went and saw this movie. So they posted.
But it's too late for forgiveness.
They posted on the senior thing that they had all gone to see this movie when it came out.
I'm glad she's not in charge of us and our forgiveness, because Lord, she's never going to forgive us at all.
But
okay.
Anyway, 80 for Brady follows. It is based on a true story.
Yes.
Which I didn't know going in.
I think I knew. So cute.
About 4 old bags.
Wow.
4 old friends that happen to be female bags.
Wow.
And they're a fan of the Patriots, most importantly Tom Brady.
Yes.
For the reasons you might think. Who get a chance to try, or they decide they want to try to go to the Super Bowl.
Correct.
Because the Patriots are now in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
So that's it.
They're all dealing with their own issues. One was recently divorced, one's a widow, one has been ill, and one is just kind of scared to kind of live on her own and just, live her life. And so everyone's coming from their own things. So
We have the one that's also closet. She lives a very boring life.
Yeah.
She doesn't do anything. She's not adventurous.
She's smothered by her husband, I feel like.
Yeah, because they're also both like educators, so both super nerdy type people. And it's funny, if you describe the story of each one without even telling me, you can probably figure out which person's which pretty easily.
Yeah. And I like that, it could have been easy to be like, hey, here's these 4 super famous older actors. Let's just go with it. But they gave them a deeper story for each of them. And I like that each of them still bring something to the table,
It is exactly the movie you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's cliche. It's a little by the
There's
numbers.
There's some funny moments.
It's
silly
silly.
Things
it's
happen.
It's heartwarming. It's sad at times. It's goofy. It's everything you kind of can tell it is from the trailer. And it has a lot of the stuff that is going to happen, but it's these 4 ladies is what elevate it to make it something that's more than it probably would have been otherwise.
Yes. Now we know Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda have a really good chemistry, and I think they're real life friends. Yeah, they're like after really Grace and Frankie.
They seem to only work together now because they did Grace and Frankie for 7 seasons. Yeah. They had this movie come out. They have another movie coming out called Moving On. They just seem to work together all the time.
And that's okay. But then we add Rita Moreno and Sally Field, who, hello. And I'm glad. I'm like, we can't have Rita Moreno without some dancing. Because, she's a dancer.
Well, she's kind of had a nice little resurgence. I
love her
ever since they did that remake of, what is it?
West Side Story.
West Side Story, thank you. I was going to say West Side Connection, but that's an Ice Cube group.
Okay. She's gangster.
I don't think she was dancing with Mac 10. Doing the crip walk and
but
stuff.
Since the resurgence of being that, but
she's also going to be in the new Fast and Furious too.
Yes, I'm so happy. I think
she's playing Vin Diesel's grandmother or something.
Yes, I'm just so happy to see her, and because of the West Side Story stuff and digging deeper, and then seeing the new interviews with her and just the struggle she went through in Hollywood. I mean, we all know about the casting couch issues, but the things that happened to her also as a Latina coming into the industry. The saddest thing is one time, she was kind of being accosted and kind of grabbed and groped at a party. She ran outside, and the guys that helped her were the gardeners that spoke Spanish, and they're like, "We will take you home." I mean, that's how she escaped a party. I mean, that's just crazy. Anyway, then you have Sally Field. What's my favorite Sally Field movie? What's yours? I'm gonna tell you.
Yours is that one where she's with the guy from New Girl, isn't it? Or you're going by an older one?
I'm going with an older one.
Oh, The Flying Nun.
Oh no, I do like that.
I hated The Flying Nun. It's so awful.
Is she Gidget the midget? Not Gidget the
Midget.
Not the midget.
No,
Sorry,
Gidget the Midget is an adult film star.
I apologize. Gidget.
People know a lot more about you now than they probably did ahead of time.
Is that the Flying Nun, Gidget?
She was Gidget, yes.
Okay, sorry. I went in the totally wrong direction. I'll delete that from the video.
No, she won't. That is staying there, and I want people forever to know that you're clearly a fan.
Sorry.
Don't look up Gidget the Midget.
No, I'm not going to. I'm telling you, my favorite movie.
The Midget.
I am not. My favorite movie is Not Without My Daughter, with her and Alfred Molina, where he plays the man from Iran, and they get stuck there. She's trying to escape.
I've liked Sally Field for years. For all
She's
kinds
the best.
Stuff, but I think that movie that she did with I don't remember the name of it. The one with the guy from The Neighborhood.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
It's been quite a while now, and I don't remember the name of it.
No, it doesn't matter.
She had kind of a romantic affair with him, or relationship, or she liked him, and I don't remember the name of it. It was at the workplace. It was funny. Anyway.
Okay, I was thinking Gidget and for The Flying Nun.
Yeah, The Flying Nun.
It doesn't matter.
Smokey and the Bandit.
Smokey and the Bandit. I mean, how can you not love these ladies? It doesn't matter who do what.
Whether you like them or not, all 4 of these women are icons in the industry, and they've all had parts and done things that were like stand out at some point. Whether it's my personal favorite. What is one of my personal favorites that 2 of these ladies were in?
That's going to be the movie with Ms. Dolly Parton working 9 to 5.
That is correct. I love 9 to 5.
And that's so funny to me. You love 9 to 5.
It's such a cheese movie. It's such a kind of a girly.
I love the rat poison.
Woman empowerment movie. You like what?
I love the rat poison.
I love 9 to 5. I've watched it a billion times. I watched it as a kid. I watched it as an adult. I love that movie. I love Dabney Coleman, and so my connection to Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin went all the way back then. And I also like
they've probably been friends since then.
And I also like there's a movie with Lily Tomlin called oh my god.
Let's go find it.
Where she shrinks. I have to look it up. It's not this. I'll look it up while you talk.
Okay. Anyways, this movie's super cute. They get something crazy happens. They get tickets to the Super Bowl. They get there and something crazy happens again with the tickets. So now they're still struggling to find a way in. There are some great cameos in this film with a lot of super famous people that are here. I'm going to sneeze.
It is known that Tom Brady's in the movie. That was public.
Tom Brady's in the movie, but there's a lot of famous celebrity cameos that make appearance, and it's just so sweet to see these people in the movie together. It's a really good one. I think you should check it out. I think it's really fun. It's super funny. It's sweet. It's endearing. There's funny moments. There's silly moments. There's some tearful moments for you. And then there's some good inspirational speeches and monologues that happen. There's a little love interest, and you're gonna be like, "Ooh, 80-year-old ladies having some love moments." But you know what? People like your mom would say, "We're not dead," because your mom has told us that.
Totally not related. But go back to what I was just saying. So there's two movies that I was a big fan of too, besides 9 to 5. I clearly, they all came around the same time. So I clearly was just a Lily Tomlin fan for a while.
Was your mom watching these, and that's why you?
I honestly don't remember. I think it was around the time we got cable, so I was watching all this kind of stuff.
Okay.
But there was 9 to 5.
Yep.
And then there was The Incredible Shrinking Woman.
That's what you're thinking.
And then All of Me with Steve Martin.
Oh wow.
Which All of Me with Steve Martin, I believe, is like they merge bodies or switch bodies, or she's an angel or something. Hold on, what is it?
Was it also Lily Tomlin, the one that did the operator?
Yes.
I love her doing
She's
that.
also on The Big Chair.
Yes.
Okay, so it's about a dying millionaire who has her soul transferred to a younger, willing woman. Oh. So, however, something goes wrong and she finds herself in her lawyer's body. She's trying to go into a younger body. She ends up in Steve Martin's body. So it's Steve Martin being Lily Tomlin.
That's funny.
It's a great movie.
We're gonna have to go watch that. I've not seen
Carl
that.
Reiner directed it. I love that movie too.
I'll go watch it.
Have you not seen her in The Incredible Shrinking Woman?
I have not.
It's not a great movie, but it's so, I don't know why it appealed to me, but there's like a moment where like she's in a bowl of cereal and it's just
we'll have to go
almost getting vacuumed.
We're gonna go
just
find
had
it.
me cracking up.
Let's see if we can find it somewhere.
Anyway, I really had fun with this movie, and you have, they all get a moment to shine.
They do.
But they all get a lot of group stuff, and then there's one of my early on issues was like Jane Fonda has this thing in most movies, and I liked it lately. I've been seeing a lot of it that I've kind of applaud her for, where you rarely will ever see Jane Fonda out of makeup, not made up. Mm-hmm. She's kind of bougie looking all the time.
Yes.
And as she's gotten older, sometimes she looks extra fake. And in this movie, she looks faker than she's ever looked. And I remember asking, what is up with this hair? And what is up with this? Uh-huh. But that's the persona of the character. She has a moment in the movie where she's completely out of everything.
Yeah.
And you kind of see the real Jane Fonda, and you're like, that bitch is old. But she's in her 80s.
She's 80s.
Yeah, she's 80. I mean, what do you expect? But it was nice to see that she does that, and then that persona, because her character in this movie is kind of dealing with her own self-image, and it's the way she looks is how she gets things done, and but you're an older woman having to deal with it. It's always not the same thing. But it's one of those movies that I liked the movie. Had it been a different cast, it probably would have been cheese and bad, and it is still a little cheesy.
Yeah.
But you'll either like it or you won't. But it's a fun little movie. It's cute. It's everything you expect it to be, and it knows what kind of movie it is.
Yeah. Did you see that last year she's dealing
with cancer?
Yeah, the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So you know what? Just let everybody be happy and go watch this super fun movie. Take everyone you know. It's super cute.
80 for Brady is in theaters.
It's touching and emotional.
Yeah, and it's on early access digital, which we paid for it to watch it at home.
Yes.
So before you you only talk good about it because they give it to you for free. We paid for it at home and watched it. So watch it, sister.
All right. We're to this one now.
All right. So this last one you didn't get to see yet.
I have not seen it yet.
I would like to go see it again. One, so you could see it.
Let's go right now.
Because, no, we can't go right now. We're busy right now. It's a small movie called Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
Okay.
It did not do as well this weekend as I had hoped it would. But who knows? I hope that doesn't say anything, because one of the things with the shakeup of the DC universe was discussed of his future of Shazam, and what they do with the new Shazam era of this new DC really will determine on how well the movie does.
Yeah.
but we'll see. But if you don't know Shazam,
Shazam.
it's not a story of Gomer Pyle. It's a superhero. They did a Shazam movie previously with Zachary Levi. And it's about a young boy named Billy Batson.
Is this one
who inherits the power of the gods, and when he shouts the phrase Shazam, he turns into Shazam, but he still has the mentality of the little kid. And you may think that's silly, but guess what? That's what the book was. That's how it works. They also, in the last movie, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, it doesn't matter at this point. They also introduced the rest of the Shazam family. So they have a new movie.
That was very surprising because I don't know anything.
You didn't know about all those characters.
I was crying. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cute.
The new film, it's definitely bigger on scale.
Okay. It looked like they were all there.
They all get their time to shine. They're dealing with a lot of, like, he's dealing with kind of imposter syndrome of having to kind of lead everybody, but I can't even lead myself mentality. And you know, it's like the first movie where it's dealing with family, but it's a different level of the family now, and not wanting to lose them. Like, you know, Billy Batson, his character was trying to find a place to belong in the first movie, and now he's got this family, but he hasn't fully embraced everything about it, and he's still afraid to lose them. Yeah, and so he's dealing with a lot of that. But he's dealing with it as the kid. He's dealing with it as Shazam. And then at the same time, some new gods show up, and they come into the play, and which is played by Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu. Yes, they're the main bad guys of the film.
How's Helen Mirren and
Lucy Liu?
Now, how is she?
Oh, they're both excellent.
A superhero type.
She's good because she's playing kind of a. Both of them are very.
She's like your older lady crush.
Well, yes, she is. They're both like Amazonian types. Okay, so they're tough. They fight. But they have powers, but they're gods. I mean, they're not from, well, maybe they are, but from Olympus kind of thing. And they are characters that were not in the comic; they were written for the movie. Okay, but they're out of the same mythology that the stuff in the character come from. They found a clever way to bring the wizard back, because you see him in the trailers. Yeah, because in the first movie, the wizard, you thought he was dead because he turned to dust and flew away after he gave his powers. I don't know if he imploded or. Yeah, he got just faded after he gave his powers away. So they found a very interesting way of connecting all that. It's bigger on scale. There's bigger creatures and monsters, a lot of mythical stuff. That's good. I'm excited to see it. There's some fun and unexpected surprises if you haven't been watching the TV trailers. There is a TV trailer. If you haven't seen a lot of the trailers for this movie, if you see a TV trailer that's coming up and you plan to watch it, change the channel. Don't watch the trailer because they have spoiled a major thing in it. I hate that. And this is why I only watch the first trailer of anything. Yeah, no, and it's not in the main trailers. It's in the TV spots. Yeah, I don't like it's a major thing. It's not to the movie, but a major component of the story. Yes, of some connection to a bigger universe kind of thing. No, I don't want to know. And it's kind of a bummer because it would have been a nice surprise. But they play on the surprise stuff in the first movie. And they kind of do that same thing, but they go bigger with it in a different direction, not the same. So don't get excited that you're going to see Henry Cavill, because you're not. And then the after credit, there's 2 after credit scenes. There's one that connects directly to the after credit scene in the first movie. Okay. If you don't know what that is, you have to go watch. And then it has a whole new one that actually connects, which I can't explain it to you until you see it. Okay. Because you won't know what it is because you didn't. I can't say. Okay, don't tell me. Because you don't know about it. Okay, cool. Once I explain it to you, you'll be like, oh, okay, well, that's why I don't know. But it almost is kind of. We don't know if it was shot before or after the new regime took over. I think it was mid or after, because it almost says this is officially connected to the new stuff. Okay. In the way it's shot. So we'll see. I'm excited then. It has a lot of the same exact, the same fun, the same humor. It's a little more heartfelt. I will say my only disappointment probably comes you don't get the kids as much because they spend most of the time as their superhero personas. Yeah. Okay. But I get it. The only thing that kind of annoyed me on casting is there is one casting change, and it's Mary Marvel. Oh. But what they did was in the original film, there's the kids, including Mary, and then when they turn into the Shazam personas, they're all different actresses. Correct. So in this one, the girl, because Mary was the oldest, the one going to college, she now plays both parts. Oh. Where they don't have the 2 versions. And I don't know if they did that because she's older and she can fit it, but to me at the same time, it's like, it kind of lost the thing of that for me. But it's not so noticeable. You were like immediately like, what the heck, man? But
it is the same girl, the
it's
same
the
Mary.
same girl that played Mary, in
But
the
she's
first
also
movie.
now her own superhero.
She's also Mary Marvel.
I got
So
you.
she's both versions. So when she changes, her clothes change.
Gotcha.
Everybody else changes, they turn into a different human being.
They turn that because they need to be older.
Yeah, they're all adults.
So maybe because she's already
well,
an adult.
a lot of the kids are already pretty big. They wouldn't have been, like there's one kid who's a pretty hefty kid. He couldn't be one of those kids because that's not what they look like. So that's a noticeable change, even though he's a bigger kid. But yeah, it's so I mean, it can be easily explained away. It's like she's already of age that she would not change, or it was easier to do it that way, or would we believe she was just turned into another woman of the same age?
Yeah,
I don't know, but it was the same in the first movie.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I haven't read anything of why they recast or didn't bring the other girl back. It works. It's not so bad that you're like, what is going on? But maybe it's because there was a bigger part for the character in that persona and they wanted to keep the other actors. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they liked her.
Anyway, I really, really, really love this movie. I thought it was good. I actually liked it better than the first one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But it is a little different. So it's because it's bigger. This felt like a big superhero movie, where the first one was a superhero movie, but kind of a comedy, kind of a coming of age tale. This one has that, but it's got that bigger scale of, it's almost like the first one had like a $50 million budget. This one had a $200 million budget in the change of scope and the scale.
What did our child think?
Oh, he loved it. He thought it. Yeah, my son is a huge Shazam fan.
That's the opinion I care about.
Never read a comic book in his life, Shazam book in his life, but he became a fan of Shazam from watching the original Shazam ISIS Hour. Not when it came on originally because he wasn't alive, but he used to go back to back with the '60s Batman series. He got introduced to that because I tried to introduce him to the Batman show, and I think it was TV Land or something was playing that block. We watched Shazam first, which you've never seen the original Shazam series.
Wow,
it is trash, but it's a story about an old man that drives a Winnebago with Billy Batson, who is like almost a grown man, and he turns into Shazam, and then he fights hoodlums. There's no super villains, So my son, for whatever reason, connects all things Shazam. He was a little off on the movies because he had his perception of the original movie. Like I don't know, but he said he really liked the new one.
Okay, good. All right, then I'm sold. I'm gonna go watch it.
So, I hope this is not the last time we see Zachary Levi as Zachary Levi as Shazam. He's great in the role, and
you know what? He's good at everything. He can sing, he can dance, he can.
Well, act. He said that he would play Shazam no matter what they wanted him to do. He said all James Gunn has to do is say, "I need Shazam here." He goes, "I will do it." But he goes, "I also just root for the character, and if they decide to recast him, then fine. I just want to see Shazam stay on screen."
Yeah, that's good.
So. And they also said I think they're fixing to go into production on some kind of a Chuck revival.
Oh wow! Okay,
so we'll see.
Good. I like that one.
He was from Chuck, if you don't know.
Yes.
Anyway, so that's it. Shazam: Fury of the Gods is in theaters now. Go see it, enjoy it, and make sure you stay through the credits to watch all the stuff.
Okay, now we know. All right, over to you,
that's pretty much it.
Tell me what's coming out.
All right. So it's not a huge Blu-ray, DVD release, whatever. It looks like Dr. Giggles is getting a release.
What's Dr.
I love
Giggles?
Dr. Giggles. Have you never seen Dr. Giggles?
No.
It's about like it's a slasher type flick with a dentist.
No.
But he goes.
Okay, that's fine.
It's the guy that played.
How? So like Peter Griffin.
I saw this in the theater.
Okay, I'll have to go see.
What is the guy's name? Hold on. He played a special needs guy on that TV show for a long time, that court show.
I'll go look at it.
Larry Drake. He was also the bad guy in Darkman. LA Law or one of those shows. He came on the show and he was so good in the show that
I remember him. Yes.
He played like he was like Down syndrome or something like that.
Yeah.
But he was so good in that show. I honestly thought he was special. And then when he showed up in Darkman, I think, or maybe it was
LA Law. Yeah.
Was it? It was either Darkman or Dr. Giggles. I don't remember. When he showed up, I'm like, this special guy is a really good actor. Like that's how good he was.
As the other.
And then he shows up in Darkman as the villain, and he's like this crazy maniac. And I'm like,
wow,
he's a good actor. And I'm like, oh, he's not really special. That was so stupid.
That's so funny. Well, you didn't know.
Then the movie Red Eye with Rachel McAdams and Cillian Murphy's getting the 4K treatment.
Nice.
The classic Dragon Slayer
Ooh, bless
which
you,
is the
baby doll.
first starring film starring Peter McNichol, is getting the 4K treatment. It's also classified by some people like George R. Martin, and I forget who else was, that they believe that is the best dragon that's ever been put on film. And it's a mixture of animatronics, something called not stop motion, go motion, or something like that. But the same people that the grumpy guy that we always watch, Phil Tippett, the guy that we watched in that Industrial Light and Magic with the big beard.
Yes,
he created it for this movie.
That's why
he
it's
also did that
good.
Mad God animated movie that I
That's
like.
why it's
Anyway,
good.
Dragon Slayer is coming out. Babylon is getting the Blu-ray 4K released. We know how much you love that. And Star Trek Strange New World Season 1 is getting the DVD release. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. Coming out at the theater or on the line this week, let's see, starting tomorrow, March 20th, there's a movie on video demand and digital called Wildflower. It looks really interesting. It's a coming of age comedy, and it's about a young lady who's graduating and now trying to figure out life because both of her parents are actually intellectually disabled, and she's kind of, has to take care of them. She's taken care of them for most of her life as she's been older because they've had challenges. So now what is she going to do that she graduates? What will happen with her parents? Coming out on Tuesday, The Disappearance of Mrs. Wu. I know.
She's still missing?
Yep. So this is about a lady, and she goes out to try with her granddaughter to try and go cross country to LA and figure things out. I don't know what's happening.
Never find her?
I don't know. We'll have to find out. I don't know why this is showing up right now. Right now here.
Because it probably did a small theater run.
Okay,
and now
so
it's
maybe
coming
out in more wide release, and we talked about this a few weeks ago. The new Children of the Corn movie, like part 11, but it's actually a reimagining of the original. So Children of the Corn 2023 version coming out on video demand and digital. And then coming out on Friday.
It's actually that they must have moved it up, because if you read my review, which you clearly did not,
okay, let me
it says Children of Corn is in theaters March 3rd, and then on digital and on demand on March 31st.
Okay, well,
so
that's why it's here.
To the 21st.
So let me post you guys.
It doesn't matter. You don't need to watch the They don't need to see it.
I'm going to post a link to our review because you need it. And then coming out on Friday, this is what everyone's going to be watching, my friends. John Wick Chapter 4.
And we've got thoughts.
Whew, there's a lot happening in this movie. You need to check it out. Please make sure you watch 1, 2, and 3.
Yes,
before
it is a necessity.
You go watch part 4.
And big sadness of actor Lance Reddick, who plays Sharon, and he was in The Wire. He's been a bunch of stuff. He passed away this week. Sad. It was very shocking, actually.
It was quite shocking, and I was like, and you told me, I was like, no, that's not true.
And we can't talk about kind of what they deal with him.
No, he was just in John Wick 4. We just saw him, babe. Because we've seen John Wick 4, and I was like, no.
You've seen it?
Yeah, I'm like, no, that's not true, babe. That's not true. I'm like,
I want to tell you, prepare you for John Wick 4. We're not going to talk about the movie today. We'll obviously talk about it, but it will come out Friday. So I want to tell you before you go see it, be prepared. The movie is 3 hours long.
But it does not feel long.
It is an exhausting 3 hours.
You guys.
But I will not tell you, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I'm not even going to go into what was happening. But honestly, that's the only thing coming out because nobody wants to compete with John Wick. Everything. No.
Well, then you're going to have a carryover still of Creed and Shazam.
Yeah, so this would be the week after John Wick. After you see John Wick, go catch up on everything.
That's problem kind of that I have, or not problem, that's going to be a problem for Shazam is trying to be able to carry on and keep building those numbers because...
I mean, John Wick's going to take
moving on. It's coming out, or is it limited?
Where?
Scroll down.
It was last week.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, there's so much we need to catch up on, like Boston Strangler. I need to watch Shazam. We didn't see 65. Inside. I mean, there's a lot of things to...
Well, before we talk about giveaways and all that kind of stuff, we got to do a quick recap of AllCon.
Oh, yeah.
We go to AllCon every year. This is the first year that you really didn't get to go.
I didn't. I don't know what was happening with me. Too much life.
But I'm kind of glad you didn't get to go because you got to actually have a girls' day. You got to relax that you never get to do.
I know. I had a good week. I had a good day at AllCon today.
Yeah, so she came in, got to come out today, and we host Superhero Sunday, which was supposed to be last year. Was supposed to be the last year. They brought it back, so we did it again.
So this year's supposed to be the last year, but
so we'll probably be doing it again next year.
We found out we're on the flyer for next year, so who knows?
So if you've ever been watching our shows or anything, you've heard many crazy All-Con stories. I will tell you this: the last couple of years of All-Con still been a great show. Still love the show. Still love all my people there. It's been toned down.
Yeah.
I don't think it's. I don't know if it's because we've gotten older. A lot of our crew that we used to have, like anywhere from 4 to 10 people that we all hung out with together, and we just destroyed the place. Like, we'd running around, we were everywhere, we were there all night.
We were everything everywhere all at once.
Pretty much. We partied. Some years we drank, some years we just chilled. We were eating, we were dancing, we were doing all kind. Anything you can.
Do they still have the school dance?
No, I don't think they have it in the new hotel.
Oh, well,
they have
that's
karaoke and some stuff like that.
We should have done karaoke.
No, we shouldn't have, because then you'd had to listen to Hodor sing.
Oh no.
So anyway, but the last 2 years, we haven't stayed late at night. Biggest reason is because a lot of people we used to hang out with either haven't been there or haven't been able to go. Like, one of my good friends is kind of my All-Con buddy or convention friend. Couldn't make it this year at all. And then she couldn't make most of the time. So I was just kind of like there. Thankfully, I had my buddy Frank who hung out with me all weekend. And then there's plenty of other people I like and talk to. So there wasn't a lot of shenanigans this year. But
that's good.
I want to point a couple of cool things out. One, they had, if you know what a Viper is from Battlestar Galactica,
sure,
they had a life.
That ship.
It's the equivalent of an X-wing fighter for Battlestar Galactica. They had a life-size one that you could actually.
I took a picture. It's awesome. Yeah.
Oh, they had one you could actually get into the cockpit, and they had the helmet to wear.
Well, they were taking it down by the time I was.
Were they?
Yeah, they're starting to dismantle.
I was lucky enough to walk. I happened to be walk past, and there was 3 people dressed as Cylons in front of it.
That's awesome.
And that's the other thing. I've always wanted a Cylon costume.
Okay, well, let's make that happen.
It has a light that goes whoa whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa whoa.
I know. I got you. I'm gonna sneeze again. Okay, keep going.
Anyway, so they had that. They had the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile was there.
And you could get an Oscar Mayer weenie whistle.
But you had to hug the wiener.
That's okay.
So then they had the Blues Brothers.
But there was a Blues Clues picture somewhere.
Was there?
Wasn't that Bluey? Oh, no, it was Bluey.
Yeah, so they had the Blues Brothers car, or a Blues Brothers car, and they also had a Rick and Morty ship. So that's some fun stuff. They had that was the scavenger hunt. So they had all these cardboard cutouts of characters all over the building, and they had like little codes that you scan in and find stuff. And so they had Bluey and Shaggy and She-Ra and just all kinds of people. Then as far as celebrity stuff, they didn't have a lot of big celebrities. They had Greg Peters, who's an artist, and he actually is a great guy. I didn't say right.
Yeah, Greg Peters.
He worked on actually really won an Emmy or whatever for Animaniacs, and it's cool. He has it set up on his table. He has like a little certificate
that's cool.
Like honored animation, Animaniacs, whatever. So he does caricatures, all kinds of stuff. But they had some voiceover actors and stuff. But they had Duncan Watson and Melanie Cohn. I think that's how you say no. You say, I have never heard of those people before.
Yes, you have.
You have heard these people
really
before.
Have heard.
Whether you realize you didn't know they were. They are, in fact, the original Charlie Brown and Lucy from the animated shows and the little specials and, the Christmas Charlie Browns and all those kind of stuff. So I actually got an autograph from both of them because,
nice.
my cartoony thing. And she's so funny because she wrote on here, she was signing and she goes, do you mind if I write Blockhead? And I'm like, well, I do, in fact, have a blockhead, so go right ahead.
Sweet.
So she wrote, you blockhead, Lucy, and then he wrote, good grief, she did it again. So I had to get the dual.
That's sweet.
That was awesome. And she had a really cool photo booth. That her booth actually had the psychiatric advice for 5 cents.
The doctor is in.
Thing. Yeah, the doctor's in thing attached to her table.
That's so
she's sitting behind it all. And also, one of my favorites, she came last year, and I got her autograph last year, is Karen Whitfield. She's Batgirl. Now, you might recognize that doesn't look like Batgirl from the show. From the 60s TV show, they did a tour promoting the show and doing appearances with Adam West and Burt Ward. And Yvonne Craig didn't want to do it, apparently, if I'm not mistaken. So they hired her, Karen Whitfield, so she became the official Batgirl for the tour. She came to the show last year. I got this autograph from her last year.
Sweet lady.
She's super sweet. She helped us judge Superhero Sunday. So this year, and because I forgot to get it last year, she has a book too. It's called Bat Driven West. It's about her stories of the road and stuff that she's went through. And she apparently dated Burt Ward, who played Robin for a while. There's some newspaper articles in here, and it's just interesting. And she just told me that she's recently come across a lot of new photos and archive stuff that she was able to get through like the Warner Brothers archives.
Oh wow!
And so she can probably be doing a whole new edition
Nice.
that has new stuff. And I was telling her, I was like, she's like, we were talking about it, like, well, I don't know if I want to release it. It's just second printing. I'm like, no, make sure it says on there with all new material and expanded. But she has autographs.
She's
of
super nice.
Her own photos. She has a full Batwoman suit. Oh, excuse me, Batgirl suit that's sitting there. She takes pictures with. Super, super sweet lady. And so check her out. You can buy her book online. It's a fun little book. And that's pretty much it.
All right. Yeah, it was super fun. We had a great time. We did Superhero Sunday. We had some people sign up. It was a good crowd. And today's theme was overcoming public speaking. Because a lot of people were like, oh, I don't want to be in front of stage. We had a lot of people that didn't want to sign up. They just wanted to come watch. So we talked them into it, get them up on stage. Yeah, so it's good. We did a good thing today.
We tried to make people feel welcome.
Yeah.
One of the girls that came in, she goes, I don't want to do this. I don't want people to look at me. She ended up winning Best of the Superheroes.
I'm like, people are looking at you anyway.
Who cares? Yeah, you're sitting in the audience, people are going to stare at you. It's the same thing, but it's the perspective of where you're sitting.
And, I know.
I'm like, I don't care. And she did awesome. She dressed as Harry Potter, and she was carrying Dobby. You didn't bring Dobby in here.
I did not bring Dobby.
Aww.
So I did not dress as Harry Potter. I dressed in my house colors.
You dressed as a Hogwarts school uniform.
Yes, I dressed in my house colors.
This was a Link Zelda conversation.
Yes, I'm not Harry Potter.
My favorite thing, because we had some pretty good ones. There was a great Mr. Freeze, but there was a guy dressed as Link from Legend of Zelda. And most people assume when you say Legend of Zelda and you see the character, they go, oh, you must be Zelda. And I'm like, no, that's Link. That's an ongoing fight. So I schooled her last night before she walked into it. But I had talked to them at my table yesterday.
He's a nice kid.
And talked them into signing up because they didn't think they could because they thought it was only superheroes.
No,
we were like, we don't care if you're a character and there's good, there's bad, and come on in. But he told me, he goes, well, if I get up there and do it, he goes, I'll probably be nervous. Maybe I'll just do it like the voices he does, just go, meh, and I'm like, I'll do it. She will have no idea what's going on. And so I explained it because the fun thing about my wife running the hosting it is most times she has no idea who these people are, nothing about their characters. She gets excited when she recognizes somebody, but still probably doesn't know anything about them.
I don't know anything.
And so her reactions to stuff and saying things, if you're like, oh, that's on purpose, and so it's fun. That's what makes her so good at doing that thing.
Because I have no idea what
because there's no preconceived idea of like, oh, it's Batman. Okay, yeah, we know you're Batman.
That I do know.
I know, but I mean,
it's
just like the Two-Face we have. The guy's got a great Two-Face
costume. It's a great costume.
But his costume is based on Batman and Robin. It's not the show. It's not anything.
It's no Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, that's the Tommy Lee Jones. No, you're thinking of Mr. Freeze. I said Two-Face.
Oh, sorry.
This is the Tommy Lee Jones Two-Face outfit.
Like I would know that.
This is exactly what happens on stage.
No, but I know what you're saying. I know who Two-Face is.
Yeah.
There was a great cartoon series we just watched, the animated series about him. That whole last series that we watched, where they're on the boat and his girlfriend.
It was not a series. It was what? What are you talking about?
Where he's flipping the thing, and the girlfriend and Batman has to go.
Are you talking about?
And she's like, I don't know. He's disappeared.
About the Long Halloween?
Yes.
That wasn't a mini-series. That was just 2 movies.
I don't know. It was a movie. It was a series, I said. A series of things we watched, and it was so good, and you should watch it too. It was really good, wasn't it?
It's excellent. I just love how you're like, we just finished watching a series about Two-Face. And I'm
we did.
That was like months ago. Like,
but that's what
didn't recently happen. It wasn't like a series or in your description of Two-Face, like, he's just sitting there flipping his coin.
And his girlfriend, and Batman goes to see the girlfriend, and she's all like,
there's nothing in this description that made anybody realize Two-Face outside of the coin. And then this is flipping of the coin. Anyway, it was fun. We had a good turnout.
I had a good time.
It looked like people had some fun.
We had fun. Fun was had.
Yeah.
There you go. We'll see you next year. Big thing for
next year, AllCon is celebrating its 20th year. So I keep saying that it's probably going to be my last year going just because I'm so busy.
These are lies.
It becomes really hard to do the show. That's one of the reasons I don't stay all night at a party anymore and hang out because I have deadlines, I have classes, and it becomes harder. But I'm thinking that we may have to commit to the next 2 years.
Okay.
Because this next year is AllCon's 20th anniversary. The year after is our 20th anniversary of doing AllCon. Because we started at year 2.
Yep.
So, anyway, is what it is.
All right.
So let's see what else is happening here.
We got to talk about our contests.
All right, hold on. I got to pull that up. All right, we got a few of them. A couple of them are going to be ending soon. I got some extra stuff popped in, so I kept them going. Nothing new that we didn't have last week. We got Training Day on 4K, Legend of Go to Kaka. Go to Chaka, I believe that's how you call it.
We're watching it.
Yeah, we're probably watching
right
it
now. So interesting.
Then we have the 4K of this text. Excuse me. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the next installment of House Party, one of the bloodiest movies this year so far, Project Wolf Hunting, and Code of the Assassins that we'll be talking about on the show in a couple weeks.
Yep. There you go. Well, that's it, my friends. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. Go find us, like us, and all that jazz on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Hive.
All that jazz. We'll be back next Sunday for an all-new episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. And big news out of Hollywood this week was that they're fixing to go into production on Good Burger 2. So my wife is super happy, super excited. If you want to find out, hear the announcement.
Milkshake jacuzzi.
If you want to see the announcement, go look up the Tonight Show on YouTube. And Kenan Thompson and Kel Mitchell both were on.
I've got to go watch
Fallon
it right now.
Announced it. And Kel Mitchell even did his Ned voice and kind of did his thing.
That was the milkshake jacuzzi.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said he did it on the show.
I'm going to go watch it right now.
Anyway.
We'll see you next week, my friends. Peace be with you.